Greetings and welcome to this edition of
Positronic.
I'm Barry P. Cook. I'm here to review the latest episode of The Flash. It was called Impulsive Excessive Disorder, and it starts off just after the vow renewal from last season, but seemingly before Armageddon, which is kind of weird. And so the Flash kids go back to the future, Bart and Nora. But once they arrive, time suddenly changes, and Jay isn't dead, which is great. We get some John Wesley Shipp Jay Garrik action. And the kids try to find out from Jay if everything else they remember is still the same, and he kind of feels like, what are you doing? This is weird. But they determine that the wife he has in this timeline isn't Joan, and that she's been erased, and that it was all caused by the kids when they chased Godspeed on the treadmill. I don't know how that did it, but that's what did it apparently. So they focus on one past event to fix, which they hope will set everything back right, even though it will kill Jay's new wife. Okay. Back in time, they soon run into Eddie Thawne, who isn't dead yet, and he sends them on a coffee run. Barry, of course, is in the hospital at this point in a coma from the lightning strike. And they meet a lady scientist that Bart seems to hit it off well with, and who it would seem is Avery Ho from the comics, who later becomes the Flash of China. So that's interesting. They then save Joe from getting shot, making things worse because of the way that they did it without thinking about it, or rather the way that Bart did it without thinking about it. And they catch the attention of the woman who was the queen of the Royal Flush Gang, but not this early. So you know something bad's going to happen. They decide that they need the surveillance footage from the bank, from this jewelry store, to examine the shooting to see what went wrong. Meanwhile, this woman who ends up being the queen of the Royal Flush Gang meets up with the other members of what's to become the Royal Flush Gang and sort of meets them and coaches them to come out of the meta closet, which they do, and then they decide they're gonna form a gang and do stuff. Then we do have a cool moment where they're going over the surveillance footage, where at Barry's lab, where they realize they're in the room where their father was struck by lightning, which was pretty cool, actually. They also realize that their actions caused the Royal Flush Gang to form way earlier, and that they are going to kill 30 people that they hadn't originally killed in the original timeline when they pull off a heist. So Bart feels responsible for this because he's the one that screwed up, and because he made the wrong move when he saved Joe, and so he goes to see Barry in the coma, and he kind of breaks down a little bit, and he's talking about how he's just a failure, but Nora talks him down, which is cool. They then go visit Avery Ho because they realize they could use her help since she knows stuff about time and all that business. They then prevent all the people from dying in the heist by way of Nora finding all of the bombs that they'd put in the casino that they were robbing and disposing of them by speed tossing them into the air where they explode, but no one really notices because at the same time, New Year's fireworks are going off. Then the kids get into a group picture that's being taken at the police headquarters for New Year's, which they really shouldn't have done, but they do anyway. Then Bart gets a little kiss from the scientist lady before he and Nora go back to the future, where somehow Jay is still alive and Joan is also alive. So I don't know how they managed that. But when Bart apologizes to Jay for messing up the timeline, Jay says, "What are you talking about? I'm alive, Joan is back, and you're on a journey, and you're going to be a great Flash. And hey, by the way, I've done time travel, and I even lived in the past on and off for 16 years at one point or something, and I even fought the Nazis, which apparently did happen in the comics." And before the episode ends, we go to the actual present where it actually is after Armageddon, and Barry and everyone are going to Paris for New Year's. And just after they leave, Iris's hairbrush, which she had just been using and which she had just put down on the couch, disappears surrounded by green energy, which I think is related to her having that time sickness that the Still Force guy has been helping her with. So apparently that's going to be a thing this season as well. So, she dies in the comics, so who knows what's going to happen. Of course, in the comics, it's at the hands of Eobard Thawne, so I don't know. But anyway, that's where the episode ends, and we're off on a journey of the regular season 8 post-Armageddon. So I'll be back. And then, you know, this was kind of a filler episode. Obviously, The Flash wasn't in it. I'm not really sure why they did this. I almost didn't review it, but it's one of the episodes. So here we go. Or here I am, I should say. Anyway, I'll be back with a review of the next episode once it airs. Until then, peace and long life.